Words from Bruno. Once there was a human being who never could do anything good, and this human being was then thrown out of heaven by God, who called him Satan. And this one has sworn revenge to humans and to God. This Satan, who was thrown out, has managed to tempt humans with many things that look good. He has managed to draw them away from the true divine path. He has tempted them, lured them, and led them astray, and that is where the majority of humanity are located. Behind him, he has destroyed the bridge that led to the divine path. My fight is against the evil one. My life is God. I have built a bridge over the abyss, and invite now every human to come onto that bridge that leads to God. Who is it who tries to destroy the good, the divine? Where does the illness come from? The illness of everything that is growing on this earth. Take whatever you like, any fruit or any other creature. Satan tries over and over again to destroy everything. He also managed to gnaw at man. Man really occupies himself with negative things, and thereby wears out and degrades his body. Such a person has really unconsciously detached himself from God and has no link to God anymore. The further man has turned away from God, consciously or unconsciously, the less life was in his body, and so little life remained within that the organs reacted accordingly. He could not go through life with full power. He strayed from this source of power. In the end, he lost the connection to the great divine source of power. He was no longer capable of taking in God's power for himself, and therefore his body became a wreck. Every human being has the divine protection. He must only be aware of it, only make use of it, this divine protection. That is what most people unfortunately did not do. They were not aware of it. Man no longer knows that God speaks to him, that God has planned so much for him. He has not accepted this, and even today he is hardly able to accept it, because he blocks himself, and because he occupies himself with evil. When a human or a group of humans are walking the wrong path, and they want to turn around because they have been convinced about the truth, then, according to the law of cause and effect, they must walk back to where they left the divine path. If someone has walked the wrong path due to temptations and seduction from the evil side, and has believed and done the wrong things for, let's say, 20 years, then he must, in spite of his present goodwill, walk back 20 years to the time he departed from the good path. Then he can begin again on the right path. This is what the strict law demands, before the effect of spiritual love, which makes it possible to forgive and forget, is active. But through the teachings of Christ, and by translating them into action, we can pay off our guilt much, much faster. Yes, when a person really lets go, it can happen the next second. That is the spiritual healing, and it is always the grace of God. Do you now understand what Christ has truly done for humanity and what he means for the whole world? Now it will be clear to you that Christ's life on earth was not in vain, for God intended this earthly life for Christ because it was only through the teachings of Christ that God could lead us on to the path that God intends for all people. This remains the only way that can actually lead each man to God. But remember, dear friends, you can't serve two masters, on one side the evil and on the other side God. If you try to do so, you are a hypocrite, a liar, a fraudster. You are not even honest to yourself. You have to lay off all this. I say it once more. All that you have sensed as evil, you have to push aside. You have to turn your back to the evil. You have to walk in the other direction. Therefore I call you to the great turn around. Walk the path that is intended by God for all of us through Christ. What is it that we humans must do? What is the teaching of Christ? When people say, I'm a Christian, is that all? Do we not have to do as Christ said, follow me? Only he who has rid himself of earthly desires, who does not cling to the earthly, but clings to and feels attracted to him to whom he belongs, only he can follow God. Through the practice of Christ's teachings, he can become what God intends for him. Then there is no back and forth between the good and the evil, no for and against. I am allowed to help people find the path to goodness, but I am not allowed to make their decision about this, nor to force them to goodness. Everybody has to find his way himself. The body is our tool, as on the whole we are only an instrument of God. God's will is absolute. God wants every human being to receive help when he has learned to understand that evil drags him down. God helps him, God guides him, and he also forgives him. He who serves God not only receives strength through God, but he will be protected as well. He will be able to conquer evil through God's power. I am still helping. Everybody must die, also I. The body is laid in the ground, but I will not be dead. I will be there for those who call on me, and I still help. But by then everybody will be able to receive help by themselves. Already in Hereford I said that in the future everybody will be their own doctor, meaning that they will be steered in that way by God and automatically receive the healing stream if they bow for God and know that there is a God, and if they strive to make the greatest efforts to live in the true divine belief, not only in words but in actions. From here I can only shout to you that I am already there, completely there. Simply believe it. Convince yourself about it. It's not just something that I'm saying. I have already reached out my hand to you. I will not only lead you by the hand, but with my heart as well. Because that is the most important, that the human is led by the heart, with the great divine love. It's no playing in this. Also there is not much talk. But what that which is to be created must be created. Therefore I call every human to reflection, and I reach out my hand to each one and really guide him, and I know that I don't lead him astray, as you already partly have realized, that I only lead you to the good, only to God. And now you need not doubt, you need not despair, you need not complain, always stick to the truth. But first I ask you, dear friends, convince yourself of this word, truth, what truth is. That's the most important. If you somewhere find yourselves in distress or an emergency, you always call on God, and so you must. I have always said, I am here and everywhere at the same time. By that I do not mean that I am God, no. I am only a small tool for God, but I will stand by the human with advice and deeds and show him the good path. You only need to call me, and I am there immediately. Do not think that you will meet me in person, no, in spirit. If you in any way have pain, call on me, and what shall happen will happen. I can be everywhere, but not as a human, only in spirit, and thus I will fulfill the spiritual work here. As a human, I can only be in one place, otherwise I am faster, and so far there is no faster vessel. Bruno said in September 1915.